My name's Ashton Hewitt. I'm a rugby player on the wing for the Dragons in my hometown, Newport, born and raised. As a kid, I never saw myself as a rugby player. The expectations of a rugby player, I probably wasn't that mould. I was all football, football, football because, you know, your favourite player it was someone who looked like me because I could relate to them and, you know, I aspired to be a. A lot more in the valley areas that rugby was the main sport and not a hugely popular sport in the inner city. For me that was something very obvious growing up, you know, being a young teenager through rugby. You know, for a long time I felt different to the rest of the team compared to what I was used to in sort of my inner city environment. I was lucky enough that Alibu was playing at the Dragons when I was growing up, and I sort of saw myself in him, and he was my go-to favourite player. And you know, I've said it in many an interview before, you know, I'm not sure he's too many other people's, you know, favourite ever player, but he was sort of my hero as a child growing up. I wasn't really too interested in the national squad because I didn't see many people who looked like me in the national squad, and I didn't feel that, you know, I was sort of represented there. But when it came to my local team, my home team, I saw that representation, albeit, you know, in small sort of doses, if you like. It was still there just about, and that sort of gave me that little bit of inspiration and, you know, ambition to go and achieve that because it sort of seemed achievable for me. So it's hugely, hugely important that, you know, young people see diversity absolutely everywhere, not just in their sports team, but, you know, it should be a norm for society. No matter where they go, they should see diversity and representation of, you know, all different groups. We had the protests and stuff following the murder of George Floyd and the massive collective that brought and bringing everything to the forefront of conversation. You know, I started using social media to defend people and, you know, express my feelings and my experiences because I thought it was quite important to get people to understand, and with that just came a whole heap of abuse that really shocked me. You know, it got me down a lot of the time. My family, my friends, everyone was just in complete shock, and I think it was a realisation of, you know, especially for people who are close to me that haven't, you know, seen me experience what I've experienced, it was a huge eye-opener for how big an issue racism is. We've got a platform where somebody can be anonymous, some people don't care about being anonymous, and they can deliver that abuse and racism. I think it just goes to show how much of a problem it is, because the amount I was getting for someone who's really not, you know, that famous and popular at all. The number of messages and insults and disgusting things I was getting on social media was such a shock for me because it's the first time I really engaged in it. I think you just need to understand the community that you're dealing with, that not every rugby player fits this mould of what a rugby player should be. I think we need to understand that it could be anyone from anywhere, which I think is beginning to happen, which is great, but I think different communities need to be understood in different ways in terms of the barriers, cultural differences and those sorts of things, and I think there needs to be a strong understanding by everyone in these organisations of how best to deal with those communities. I think that investment overall is massive, not only to the growth of the game and the participation of the game, but, you know, to the lives of some kids that, you know, struggle to find opportunities and access to a lot of things. I grew up in inner city Newport, you know, a pretty deprived area with a load of social issues. You know, you see some sad things, you see the barriers that people face, you know, and a lot of the time the support that they need, you know, to get opportunities in life. So I do some work with Positive Futures, a great organisation that do loads and loads of work with young people within the community that are, you know, they're at risk of entering the criminal justice system, you know, at an early age, or they're getting kicked out of school and those sorts of things, all of those sort of warning signs that cause concern for young people. They get involved, try and intervene, and they use sport as a vehicle to educate young people and try and show them what's important and keep them out of trouble, basically, which is something that I think is hugely important. And I think we just need to engage with young people as much as we can, especially those, you know, that are often disadvantaged and come from, you know, difficult backgrounds and circumstances. I don't know many young people coming from where I come from with the same background as me who are aspiring to be board members or those sorts of things, you know. They sort of fit into the stereotypical sort of roles that, you know, that are forced upon them from a young age or that are expected of them. So it's massively important that, you know, there's visible representation in absolutely every sector from, you know, all areas of society. I just want to make a difference as many places as possible. If that means, you know, once my career is done, coming to the rugby club or any rugby club, to be honest with you, and sort of helping out where I can in terms of community, diversity and inclusion, equality, anything that comes under it, you know, then I'll be happy to do that work. But that goes the same for any business or any organisation that feels that they could benefit from sort of my insight and my experiences and the things that I can deliver. So yeah, I haven't nailed it down yet, but I'm hoping that I'll be here, there and everywhere, sort of trying to make a difference in that aspect.